Yeah.
see.
in some way.
Yeah.
That's a good
Actually, I
connection.
saw The Big Blue when I was really young with my father. It was an experience for me. I love that film.
Big Blue was forbidden in Italy.
I
for
know.
a long time.
Yeah, for a lot of time, for almost, I think, 15 years,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that.
Because we were, what they said, the judge said that it was against Italian male.
Yeah, the Italianity. With hubris, we can say.
Like something very the dignity.
Dignity. Yeah.
The
Okay.
dignity. I was. They get offended
Wow.
by the
The character of
By
Enzo.
your portray of
my
Italian dignity.
portrait of the Italian.
Okay.
male.
Wow.
For a movie with no guns, no politics, no murder, no love, no sex, no drugs.
No fun.
Yeah. Strange.
Yeah, I always thought it as a film about love and obsession. I mean, which is the relationship between love and obsession. When we are free from love and when we are free from obsession, can we ever be free from them?
Love is an obsession.
That's the point.
And I'm interested, how did they change their mind 15 years later about their concept of
It's a
Italian
long
dignity?
story. Maybe we talk about it when you.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
I
can
think
start.
if you want, but it's a
After
long
the
story.
music.
We have
okay.
the music. You will not hear it because you don't have the headphone.
But
you,
it has an intro with
right,
artificial
sure.
intelligence.
if you want, it does
Yes,
every
yes.
time different intros. It's funny.
We are
This time
also-
is in English,
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because of you, sir.
and we are very
Special
curious.
Usually it's in Italian.
What do you think about AI in music? Because he abused that, and
He's a bad person,
he's a bad person.
Let's go.
a Gen Z person.
Yeah.
Very chill.
Caribe.
Let's talk about cinema. Free conversation. Like friends at a bar.
Nice.
We love the movies. There's the vague who speculates. El Pasco who supports Barrio. Zeno who does the analysis. And the beer that flows freely.
No. He's
Very huge guess. Intimate
Since my
dialogue.
voice.
It all started with a blog and now it's beer with Bessa. Everyone loves cinema.
You did it really.
Long
Happy
live
life.
cinema. Everyone loves the podcast.
Sometimes you do
Everyone
crazy
loves
stuff.
Zeno. It's so beautiful. This is a truly special moment. Everyone loves cinema. Long live cinema.
Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you very much for your music.
It always change the genre and the voice.
Was the AI?
Yeah. I love that you stayed literate with the
Yeah,
translation.
because usually it's in Italian.
Italian
and
language.
they change every time the genre and every time.
I
is
mean,
different.
it's all AI apart from the text that, of course, I wrote.
Of course.
Of course, as a storyteller.
Ladies and gentlemen, Luc Besson. Thank you very much for being here. It's an honor for us, really.
Thank
And,
you. Thank you to invite me.
Oh, you're welcome. And we can do a crazy journey if you like it, starting from your Dracula, which will be on screen the 29th of October, and then on all your cinema and cinema we like and whatever it happens talking, because who knows what could happen. And
It's gonna be an immersion.
an immersion.
Yeah, we were talking
about
cinema.
sea and cinema. Yeah, I like it. Immersion. I like your English style of speaking,
Yes,
Giovanni.
I'm gonna be very true.
Straightforward.
You're always very true, Giovanni.
Of course.
And the first question I want to ask you is about Dracula and about. I find that your Dracula is both fragile and baroque, and that is the way I think love should be, both fragile and baroque. And so I wanted to ask you, when you realize that archetype that is really linked to some ideas could be something about fragility, baroque, and love, and not the usually thing we see when we see Dracula.
First, I say I don't like horror film.
Okay.
Okay,
I don't like it. I'm too scared.
me too.
Yeah, I say 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
cannot
make
stand that.
nightmares all night.
Exactly.
So it was not about Dracula, the myth and everything. It's when I read the book again, I forgot, because I read it when I was very young.
Okay.
I forgot the love. and this man who is able to wait 400 years just because he wants to say goodbye to his wife. And this is so romantic that I want to tell the story. I want to tell you this story particularly.
Okay.
Not so much Dracula. I use Dracula more like a background and make fun of it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was just about that, because I think an artist always reacts with his time. When I was like 20 years old, 25, French society is very bourgeoise. And you're 20 years old, you want to kick the ass of everyone. So Nikita, Leon,
Yeah.
Last Combat, you know, you want
All
the
about
dark.
the reaction to
Yeah,
the
you
to the
react
society.
to the society.
Yeah.
And then now we're in, you know, today the society is so hurt, so cynical, and you see suffering really everywhere. And that as an artist, you feel that you need to bring something different, bring something more positive. And I just want to bring some love and to remind people that we're all born from love. We're not born from money or war, but from love. So just 2 hours where you can forget everything and just to remind the essence of life and love, and that's the feeling, the beginning of the will to do the movie. Not just do another version of Dracula.
Yes, I feel it. I believe it's really interesting what you're saying, because it means that nowadays to refound love, to refine the sincerity of love, the kindness of love, also the irony of the world around. I mean, the way you are ironic sometimes in the archetypes of Dracula, the way you play with it. Means that now being that kind of sincerity and kindness is more against society than being kicking society.
Exactly.
Because the society changes, and now that is the way to kick society.
Yeah, exactly. Like you see today, like no one are believing politic people. Politicians are dead all around the world.
Yeah.
You don't believe them. They come on TV after 3 words, you say they're lying. And sometime one guy arrived and say, you know what? I was wrong. And suddenly you like the guy. You say, wow, oh, okay. At least one guy say, I try, I was wrong, sorry, I'm gonna change. And this truth, we miss the truth all the time. We miss it so much. And what's interesting is a movie, an art, by definition, a movie is fake. There's nothing true in it. When you say I love you to someone, you don't have strings on the back. You know, like so it's all fake. But we looking for the truth in something fake, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
And when we watch politics, we want the truth, and the only thing we get is fake.
Yeah, so it's the contrary. That's very interesting.
Which is, of course, because cinema is a representation of reality, so it have to be in some way fake, and maybe you have to, like, I think that your great quality is to create a world that are not realistic, but at the same time, as an audience, as a viewer, you believe in them and you immerse yourself in a story, in a universe, which is never trying to tell you the truth in a direct way. It's never like neorealistic style. It's always
true.
In some way, it reminds me also the thing you say about Dracula, the way some comic writers work on characters that are already existing. So I'm thinking about like Batman, which was a character that changed a lot based on who was writing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, your relationship with comics, you talk about it with Valérie and the French comic book. Do you think it in some way influence you in the way you choose to talk about characters?
I think that what's interesting with the influence, it's, of course, you're influenced by everything. I'm influenced by my mother, the way she raised me. So my mother, my brother, like, you know, a tree inspire me. A tree is very inspiring.
A lot. They're so
Because
beautiful.
the tree, you have the roots, and if he wants to grow, he have to put the roots very deep to be strong. and he goes up to catch the light and the energy. So you're like, oh yeah, okay, that's a good example. I should do the same. I should be granted, and if I want to grow, I need to be granted. So he tell me something. So everything is an influence. I think, in my case, the influence of movies are the smallest influence, because a movie is digested by something else, somebody else.
Yeah.
So I like to watch it. I love to see what they're saying. But indirectly, yeah, of course, I get influenced by some movies I've seen when I was 15 about the rhythm, about the freedom. Like I remember, I was 15 and I watched the first Star Wars,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you say, "Oh, okay, so we can start a movie with two robots, where one of them I don't understand a word of what he's saying." No, you're wrong. We should do there. Oh, okay. We can make a movie who start like this, which was insane at the time. You know, usually you start
of
with
course.
the man first,
Yeah.
and then the woman after.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah,
so
you have to,
And then the
to have-
hero journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A straightforward storytelling
yeah.
and a linearity.
Later, I see a wonderful movie called Quest of Fire, and
Never seen it.
the story is like, we got fire, we lost fire, we need to find the fire and come back. That's the script. And the dialogue is like, oh, 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 oh. Okay, we can make a film with that. Yeah. And the film is amazing. This example, for example, opened my mind as a future director. Okay, so we can go there. We can do that. We can open the thing. You know, so the influence come more from that specifically Coppola directing a guy and his mother in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be influenced by that. I'm going to be influenced by my mother in my kitchen when I was young.
Yeah, it's
Of
more
course.
about the view, the language, the courage of doing something different,
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
possible chance that cinema gives you to do cinema. That's really, really interesting.
So, do you think that the visual impact of a movie is sometimes stronger than the storytelling and
No.
even no,
Never.
never? Okay,
When you want, no matter what,
yeah,
what is the story? What are you telling? You see that with the AI right now. You know, like you see some imagers who are like, "Wow, my God, it's amazing! It's so well made." What's about? You don't care. After 5 minutes, I just switch. And you see sometime like first-time director, and they don't have a lot of money. They have the phone, and then you follow the thing because it's the story.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, sometimes today we watch also a lot of short movies. We are starting doing our short movies, and every time the aesthetic is wow, images wow. But then you say, okay, doing a great image today is not that difficult than writing a good story, because I have all the things, all the cameras to do a beautiful
Yeah, it's
photograph.
Yeah,
But if I
even
don't have a
just a
good
smartphone.
story, I cannot. It doesn't stand because it's nothing. And the other point is, even this is a lesson I'm trying to learn. Even when you want to write a simple story, you have to write a good story. The thing you were saying, two persons say whoa, 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 but there is the story. So you're still doing something good with the stories, not only about images. That's really difficult.
Let's take an example. We have no camera, we have nothing. It's just my voice. Okay. Once upon a time, there's this young boy and these young girls, and they love each other, crazy love. They really love each other. The only problem is the two families hate each other. That's it.
Romeo and
I
Juliet.
want to see the film.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
yeah,
I want to read the book.
of course.
But that's it. You like, and what happened after?
Yeah, I want to
what's
see what
going on? Like, oh my God, what are they gonna do? They're gonna leave the family, and you can have the story at the 12th century, 15th century, 21st century, 25th century.
Yeah, it became like the most
It
famous
will,
story.
It will always work. You know.
I totally agree. And I want to ask you something about this. Before you were saying something really interesting about the impact when you did Leon, when you did Nikita, that kind of, I want to break society at that kind of energy. Instead, now Dracula is about love, is about fragility, is about kindness. How did it change the writing process in this? in that kind of characters that were so anti-heroic, so full of bad words but full of love in another way, and these kind of characters, this kind of love?
When I start, I was 17. I really want to learn. I went to the French National School, and I've seen one guy, teacher. He asked me 3 questions. He said, "Who are your 3 favorite director?" I was wrong 3 times, so he fired me after 3 minutes.
What was the right answer?
For him,
Yeah.
or for me, the one I said, or
I want to know both. But what was the right answer for him?
I think it was probably Godard,
Okay.
Eisenstein, and Truffaut.
Okay.
You know, and then I say Spielberg, Scorsese, and
Okay.
Kurosawa. So
Fired.
I was fired. So I learned by myself. Some scriptwriter was kind enough to work with me, but it took me a long time before that I get some reflex. You know, like Subway, it's like 17 version, and then after it was 12, and then Dracula is 1.5, because it's a muscle. You learn. You have the reflex. You know that, you know your four tempo, act. And then now I know I can write way easier now since 15 years. But it took me a long time. It took me like 20 years at least to
Wow.
feel comfortable. So now I wrote more than, I don't know, probably 80 or 90 scripts already. So now I can write in 2 weeks almost. You know, it comes.
Okay.
So I can't. The process has nothing to do with my personal evolution.
Okay.
You know, it's just a technical tool. In fact.
Okay.
Also like a muscle that you train. Technical tool, but
Yeah.
also a muscle.
Yeah, it's a muscle for sure.
But do you work alone, or do you like to work with other people in the writing process?
Usually, there's always one I work by myself.
Okay.
And there's always like 2, 3, 4, 5 that I work with different people.
Okay.
You know, so it depends who get the pencil.
Okay.
When I work with others, they have the pencil.
Okay, you
Okay.
just help in some way.
We just do the structure together,
Yeah.
and then he's writing.
Okay.
Can I ask you something more technical in some way? I'm really fascinated by your career, which is of course a great career, but also about your production career. The fact that you chose to stay a lot in Europe and do universal cinema, but starting with a European view. Sometimes people just goes in America and stays in America, right? Or in I don't know, Japan. They go in the big plays outside Europe. Instead, you stayed. I mean, you're a European director with a worldwide, of course, fame. But why and how did you manage to stay in Europe as a director, as a producer?
Because the American studios, they're not interested by the artist. They just want the cherry
Yeah.
to put on the cake. Oh, we have this famous French director, and you can't work. They have an idea of what they want. It's a product for them,
Okay.
and I don't do product.
You do art.
I'm taking a piece of wood, and then I work on my thing, and I want to do an armchair, you know, and it's going to take 6 months or a year to do it, and then it's one piece, and then I do another one. I'm an artisan. They are IKEA. So, and fine, I bought some IKEA
of course.
sometimes.
Yeah, of
I
course.
like it, but it's just not my job. I'm an artisan who do it by hand. So every time I try to work with them, they propose me like many films, like almost every week. But the subject, they want me to do Nikita number 13,
Of course.
Leon number 12. You know, like
Yeah.
every time I do one movie, they want the same,
Yeah.
and it's not interesting for me. Even if the money looks very good, but I'm not interested by that.
Okay, that's really interesting. I mean, it's a great thing for Italian, European people to think, okay, I can stay here and work here.
And it's
important.
And it's even worse now. I think
Okay.
if you're an Italian young director, stay in your country. I can take 2 minutes to explain.
Yeah,
how
of
it
course.
works.
Yeah.
Like let's take for example Warner Brother or Fox.
Yeah.
You have Fox Poland, Fox Germany, Fox France, So when they have a big film in English, it goes to Fox everywhere. So the national distributor, Lucky Red, for example, in Italy, they can't have their hands on this kind of film because it's always the studio. So when a movie arrived who looks international, they're dying to get this kind of film. And it's the same everywhere. So my movie, generally, we go around the world, not US, we go around the world and we finance the film in 2-3 days. Because all these national distributors want the film.
That's really
You know?
interesting.
So it will be the same for an Italian guy. The only rule is to be in English.
Okay.
Yeah, of
That's all.
course, because you can go worldwide
Yeah.
and everybody speaks English. That's really
Yeah,
interesting.
about that I was about to asking you if you noticed any changes about the American industry in your relationship with it during the years, if they changed the approach from.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
Okay. For a
I
European.
think since it starts like 15 years ago, they start to fire everyone who was creative
Okay.
and replace them by lawyers, accountant,
Industry
financial people.
Yeah.
And they do like Excel, like big thing, like
Yeah.
numbers and things. And they think it's a better way for success, but it's totally wrong. In fact, so they take out the power of the creative people, and they say basically, I pay, I decide. So I want it red. Yeah, but the movie called Big Blue. I don't care. Red is better because we make a test and red is better. Yeah, but the sea is blue. I don't care. Or this actress is wonderful. Yeah, but she has only she has like 10,000 followers. Take this one. She has 2 million followers. Yeah, but she played like a cow. Doesn't matter. She has 10 million followers. You have this kind of discussion today because they take the power, and the directors are hopeless because there is nothing they can do.
Yeah.
The movie, most of them are shit at the end, and the studios say, "Oh, we can't be lucky all the time." That's nothing to do with luck, because no one knows. When you decide a movie, he's going to be on theater 2 years later. Do you know what they want to see in 2 years? Nobody knows. No one, not even AI. So it's the role of the artist to create what he feels, what he wants, and then pray. Pray that someone will like it and it will work. But sometimes you work, sometimes it doesn't. But it's okay, it's fine. But let the creation, today it's so poor. People are spending an average of 54 minutes scrolling on the platform
That's insane.
to looking for something. 54 minutes, that's the average. For nothing.
Yeah. Half of a movie.
just open the creativity. Before, like when I start, people who get the money, they have a team. They have like a few directors that they believe. Like Warner Brother have Stanley Kubrick, for example. And then Kubrick arrived and say, I want to do 2001. Whoa, you sure? Yeah. Okay. And they follow. And then he do the movie, and then after he say, I'm gonna do Barry Lyndon. What? Okay, let's do it. And they follow. Today, if you look to a long term, what Stanley Kubrick left to Warner Brother, it's almost the most rentable thing in the world. So you can't think just like one film. Let's make a sequel. Let's make another one. That's the moment the industry called the movie a product.
Yeah.
We're dead. It's still a piece that you have to do. It's still some art in a way, and
Sure.
Maybe some movies you can make money and be more specific, but let the artist do their job.
And do you think that we can go back to that time and that relationship between artist and studio to a more
It
sincere?
depends of the audience.
Okay.
The audience, I think, at a certain moment they will be fed up because look at the numbers. Like people go less and less to see
Yeah.
movies. They scroll. They see nothing.
About an hour, yeah.
They're gonna move on. So all this money, people will say, oh, "What's going on? What's going on?" Yeah, let us make movies.
Totally agree with that.
Totally.
I want to ask you something totally different. Is there a fairy tale of your childhood you are linked to in some way?
A fairy tale, no, because all right, my parents were scuba divers,
Okay.
so I was raised on Yugoslavia and Greece,
Wow.
on an island where no one speaks French.
Okay.
I have no shoes until nine years old,
Wow.
and so I was very wild.
Yeah.
No music, no films, nothing. So no book, no fairy tale.
Okay.
So, but the first that I remember when we went back to Paris was Jungle Book.
Oh, nice.
Jungle Book, you know, this kid who is raised by a
Mowgli.
bear and a panther. And I said, this is what I want. I want to be raised by them. So for 2 weeks I slept on the ground because I want to prep myself to
Yeah.
be in the jungle. And
To strengthen
yeah,
yourself. Yeah.
That was my favorite film.
And that's amazing.
And by the way, it's the first time I get hit by a love story, because if you remember well, at the end there is this little girl who comes to take water. She turned to him, look at him, and is like like this. And it's the first time I realized the effect of love.
Wow.
Like she just like ding ding do that with the eyes, and he's like he looks stupid. He's looking.
So a love that arrived with cinema, we can say that. I mean, the way you
Yeah.
discover love was
Yeah.
thanks to
And
cinema.
also trees. Your Jungle Books is a movie full of trees. Also your passion for them.
Yeah,
Use
I
the
have a
metaphor
passion.
of-
I have a passion for trees. You know, I have a tree in where I live in Normandy. It's 300 years old.
Wow.
You have seen the French Revolution. Every time,
Like Dracula.
You have seen
In some-
Dracula.
yeah, Dracula probably pee on him. So every time I see this tree, I say hi. You know, I say, hey, hi, because he's like, wow, you have seen everything. So, yeah, I love the trees a lot.
But when you were without speaking French, did you created kind of your own language? I mean, you were in the nature, you were with stones, you were.
No,
with
yeah, I have two friends at the time.
Okay.
One was an octopus.
Okay,
It was very nice.
nice octopus.
So they are very intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like 7, 8 years old, and I dive every day to see him and approach him very slowly. But at the end, he was like getting out and come on my face and thing. He was
Because they are scary of us. Because a lot of people, of course,
yeah,
hunt for them.
yeah. But this one we went nowhere. No one was, and the Murray Hill,
On the mirror
a,
here.
a big one,
Yeah.
Una morena.
Yeah.
the Morena.
Morena.
That was my two friends. So we don't speak so much, but you know, like when you put your hands like this, for example, on the Morena,
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
the.
she comes here and then she stay like this. And it was always fascinating to see someone from another species who don't know your life, knows nothing, no judgment. But if you propose some peace and some affection, they take it. It's insane.
Amazing.
Like today, you know, I'm in the street because I'm pretty big, and I say, "Excuse me, what time is it?" Ah! The person is living. I said, "Hey, I just want. What time is it?" That's all. You know, like there's this thing. If you have a jacket a little like this,
Yeah.
the girls are like, like this, and you go with a morena, and then she say, she comes. So it's fascinating, in fact.
In some way, it reminds me of another of your movie, Dogman, and the way, of course, he relate with animals, in this case, dogs, and the problems that you have to relate with the human, apart from the lawyer, no, the psychiatrist that interviews him, which is also in some way, the audience. So we go deep in the history of this man, and we understand his relationship with animals, which comes from a traumatic, of course, experience.
I was working with dogs. I really love Dogman. I believe it's a
Yeah.
wonderful movie. And Caleb, which is great also in Dracula. He is a great actor.
Amazing.
He's a really great actor in Dogman and Dracula. Show me a new way of being fragile, never pathetic. The way he has always his own dignity, both in Dracula and in Dogman, of course, in two different ways, is amazing. And but I was working with all the dogs. I mean, it's amazing.
Now I can tell you, there's 124 dogs,
Wow.
and every trainer has maximum 2-3 dogs.
Okay.
So when you watch the frame, they hiding everywhere, under the table, on the roof. They hiding because they need to be in contact with the voice with the dogs. Okay, and the dogs, the 2-3 dogs react to only one voice. So if you have one voice say, coucher, reste là, stay. The other one is like, okay, stay here. So there is some takes
Wow.
where I have 24 trainers screaming in the same time. Coucher, coucher, and in the middle of it, Caleb is reading Shakespeare. And he has to stay very concentrated. Pas bouger, restez là, bouge pas, attention, and so
Or
the
he's singing Edith Piaf.
that was really surreal,
Wow.
this scene, because they need to stay, you know.
Wow.
But you learn, it's like almost like kids. You realize every morning with Caleb we go in a big park where they all are, so they can be used to us, you know. So every morning, you stay for like 30 minutes. You have to take a shower after because you.
Yeah, of course.
But and then after a while, you know this one doesn't like this one so much, but this one like this one. So, and then you put, it's like actors, you know, you put position. They like each other. So if I put this one here and I say action, he will come to see this one. So I'm gonna put this one here, so he's gonna cross, you know, and then you organize the thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's another level of complexity in the
Wow.
production, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But I made movie where I have to direct a dolphin also on the water, so I'm used to it. Or manta ray, I have to deal with a whale shark also
Yeah.
who was like 18 meters long.
Yeah, I swam with that. It's
So
insane.
It's just but it's like actors. In fact, it's the same.
Interesting. Very interesting. And the other thing I was thinking while you were saying about the language is your
Can I
first.
just
Yeah,
add
of course,
one
of course.
thing
Yeah.
very sweet is all these dogs we take it from they were lost dogs
Okay, from shelters.
for shelters.
Yeah.
So we take them from shelters. We put them 4 months together, so they became a team and everything. And the crew, all the dogs was taken by someone from the crew. At the end of the movie, everyone take one, and now they have families and.
That's
That's
wonderful.
They're not
That's
in
amazing.
shelters anymore.
That's
It's,
really
it's
wonderful.
probably what the main character of Dogman wanted
Yeah.
for them. It's
So that was very sweet.
it's amazing.
Yeah, I was about to spoil the ending of the movie, but I will not because maybe somebody has not seen, so they can recover also Dogman and of course Dracula. And the other question I was thinking, talking about language, is that your first movie, Le Dernier Combat, is without words.
Yep.
That's really interesting.
Because I've seen Quest of Fire,
Okay.
and I say,
Okay.
why not? I can.
The one you were saying before.
And I don't have any money, so I can't even pay a sound engineer.
Yeah, that was.
So
I think it's a great exercise that some like student of filmmaking can do. Try to write a short movie without dialogues. Do you think it's possible that in the future human will lose word, like the possibility of speaking? Or do you think they're gonna speak more languages, more different languages, and in some ways the same thing?
no, we will always communicate it. So I don't know exactly what path we're gonna take, but yeah, the communication is. We started that like a few million years ago by painting some animals in
Yeah.
Rota.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we started to communicate like this. So, or writing on stones. So no, it's not gonna stop. That's for sure.
Interesting. I have another question for you. In some ways, you influenced also a lot the video gaming imaginary, the comic imaginary, because your cinema, the cinema we were talking before, the cinema about Nikita, the cinema, but also the Fifth Element, of course, is a cinema that combine margins, combine banlieue and sci-fi in a way amazing, because as Giovanni was saying before, is not a different world, but it's not our world. It's something in between that we can realize, we can recognize, but we know is fake. But then in that world, we find something true about maybe ourselves. And you did this, I believe, in a most peculiar way. And you also influenced a lot comic, video gaming. Did you know it? How was it for you? Because when you started doing it, it was quite pioneeristic. Is it English, pioneeristic?
Yeah, I think so.
Italian English?
Yeah.
Pioneeristic.
I don't know. I never think so much about it. I was just like Fifth Element, for example.
Yeah.
At the time, I was living in the countryside with my mother and my stepfather, who hates TV, music, everything. So there's nothing. And when I open my window, I see cows. And you're 15. You want to escape, believe me.
Of course.
And I start to write. And then I start to invent this flying cab who comes to pick me up. And then I start writing. So I wrote like 400 pages. It was shit, so I throw them away. And I wrote 400 more, which I throw away also. It was shit. And then I wrote another 400, and that was okay. I keep 200. But I start writing the entire story at 16, and the only reason was just to escape. I was not thinking about making a movie or a book, or I was just like writing. It was better than alcohol or drugs or anything. It was just my way. I take my pen and I just escape. And also like you go sometime to modern place, especially my mother, and you see a table from the 17th century or a painting from the 12th century, and it's still there. It's still mixed. So for me, the future, what will be left from today? You know, like how are we gonna mix? I don't think everything will be modern.
Yeah.
You know, like what's left? Paintings still there, for example. You know, music still there. We still hearing Mozart. You know, so and it's fun. It's fun to mix this. For example, the Fifth Element. I imagine that 30 years ago, that water will the climate change will be so high that the water will go down. So there's no more water in New York, and then there's no more river. So rather than to build the building up, in fact, they start to build
Down.
Yeah.
down. So, but when you go down, you have less light. So if you have an apartment, if you on top, it's going to be more expensive. If you go down, so I wrote 400 pages about how we live at the time. Politics, money, everything. A fork, everything. And I have this system of like apartments, for example. You have T1, T2, T3, T4. It's different size. So you buy a house and you buy the parking spot for the thing. And they take it and put it here. But if you have a T2, and you want to go up, you cannot because there is no T2 parking on the top. There's only T3 and T4. So you have to sell your box, buy another box, and go up, you know? So there's all the system to make
So
money.
you imagine and then created how it could work a society like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
at the time I thought it was interesting to give these 400 pages to the actors so they know where they're living and why, how it's working and everything.
A story works better when you know exactly how the world that you are living in works.
But for example, like in 200 years from now, it's still a problem to quit smoking.
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
even 200 years later, they
we
still don't know how
know
to.
everything.
So I invent this machine once per day where the filter is big like this and the cigarette is like this, and the machine give you only one per day. You know, this kind of thing. You mix the But I worked from 16, and I realized the movie when I was like 28 or 29, so or 30, I don't remember, but a long time. So I
it
really
changed a
have the
lot.
time to think about it and make it,
Specific. What you want
And
to
do you still now think about it sometimes? About that universe? Or when you did the movie, you in some way abandon it?
No, I think it's like, no, it's when you were a kid, you went to a place for holidays, and you have a good souvenir of it. You will always remember.
Okay.
I remember Floston Paradise. I've been there, so I remember exactly.
And sometimes comes up in your memories, maybe
Yeah.
while you were doing something else.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, what was funny is 2-3 years ago, I went to Comic-Con,
Yeah.
the same that you have in Lucca.
Yep.
But the one in San Diego?
Yeah,
No.
that's San
Okay,
Diego.
San
So
Diego.
I went to San Diego, and then suddenly there is 5 Lilu. And I was like, what? Because the first time I go, I didn't know people
Yeah.
were dressed like Batman, Superman, and thing. I see 5 Lilu. Not exactly the same shape
Yeah.
than the actress.
Yeah.
But they were very sweet. And
That's another American problem we
yeah.
can discuss.
So I make a picture with 5 Lilu. And that's surreal for me. Especially when I turn and I see Leon coming
Yeah.
with a plant.
I have 2 friends of mine that for Halloween dressed up
Yeah.
like Leon and Matilda. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah.
That's very surreal for a director when you see that. You say like, whoa.
Whoa.
Or people sometimes show me tattoo of Leon. They have the
Tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, for an artist more than a director, because also I think maybe the artists of the past, I'm talking about a lot of time ago, they were always, I think, not famous when they were making art.
Yeah.
Like the success was
Yeah,
something that...
every time depends. I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah, but I'm thinking
There
about
was less possibility
Michelangelo.
to,
Yeah, Michelangelo
to be
was
known.
famous.
Yeah.
Famous, but nobody was dressing.
no,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Another kind of famous.
yeah, it was like rich, but not. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see the influence that your art makes in everyday life for people, and I don't know how it is. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's scary that your ideas and your images now it's
No, it's not scary. It doesn't belong to you. So
that's
the
the
movie, when you release a movie, it's like having a 18 years old boy
okay.
leaving the house.
Okay.
It's your boy, but he say ciao. He's leaving, and you love him. You say okay, ciao. Call me sometime, and then that's it. The film belongs to everyone.
Of course.
Sometimes I see people and they so passionate by Leon, for example, that they talk about the movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, really? Like, oh wow. They explain me the movie. You don't understand. You're like, yeah, okay, all right, okay, I don't understand. So it belongs to the people after. So,
Okay.
which is good because Picasso is not there anymore, and Rembrandt or Modigliani
Yeah,
is
of
not here
course.
anymore, and we take a picture and we make a poster, and it belongs to us and not to him anymore.
And do you ever
Can
think?
I go to the restroom for one?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, don't worry.
It's not
no
live.
worries.
No, it's not live.
So I can.
Andrò un attimo in bagno.
Tu dove stai?
Io no, bene.
Oh, ma Zino, vai a prendere un'altra birra già che stai.
Va bene.
Grande, zio. Siamo a 45.
Sì, a breve chiudiamo.
Sì, sì. 10 minuti e chiudiamo. Poi questa la tagliamo o la teniamo? Teniamola. Poi
Teniamo.
parliamo un pochino io e te.
Dottor, bello.
Come stai?
Michelangelo non era famoso, ma che cazzo di...
No, però non... Vabbè, tipo,
No, ho capito
non
il
c'era
discorso.
nessuno che indossava
Era
l'uomo
giusto.
vitruviano.
Certo, cioè, che di Da
che è di
Vinci.
Leonardo, certo.
Ci sta. È interessante, zio, cosplay del Comic-Con.
L'uomo vitruviano.
No, figure di personaggi che nessuno ha mai cosplayato. L'uomo vitruviano, oppure facciamo il
Mona Lisa.
cervello e il dito della Cappella Sistina. Cioè
Il
facciamo dei
cervello.
cose...
Dio.
Vabbè,
Cioè,
che
cioè,
poi
Dio.
si è scoperto che mezzo il cervello...
Ah, l'uomo,
sì.
certo.
Cioè, cosplayiamo robe dell'arte tradizionale, tipo la Guernica.
Come cazzo fai?
No, dobbiamo trovare delle cose cosplayabili, però che nessuno ha mai cosplayato. Cioè quadri del 300, capito? La donna con l'orecchino di perla.
Franchino il criminale.
Franchino il criminale, Giovanna d'Arco. Domanda...
Ah, gli vuoi chiedere a Giovanna d'Arco?
Ora gli chiedo.
Sai che non l'ho visto Giovanna d'Arco, è l'unico che non ho proprio visto. Qualcosa in più sulla Grand Bleu.
Grand
Sei
Bleu.
sforzato, Zino. Che cos'è sta roba, ragazzi? Questa è la birra che verso Zino. Quando gli si chiede
questo è il modo di dire grazie in testa di cazzo.
Mamma mia, ragazzi, ma che roba è?
Mamma mia.
Un cappuccino.
Oh, allora, innanzitutto, prego.
Thank you, Zino.
You're welcome.
C'è un ciacchetto.
Sorry.
Oh, you
No,
welcome,
no
don't
worries.
worry. They have another beer now.
We use the break.
They use the break for the beer. That's how break are useful.
And I was wondering that you tell us that you wrote a lot, and you also wrote a lot of books about Arthur that later became a movie. And how is different your approach when you write a book or when you write a screenplay that later became a film?
Much more freedom with a book,
Okay.
because you can cross the garden and spend 25 pages in the garden, you know, saying, oh, it reminds me of my grandmother, and at the time my grandmother like da 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 da. In a movie, you have a clock, you have a tick-tock,
Yeah,
tick-tock,
constraints.
tick-tock, always. You need the people to stay focused. You need to not to lose them. And when you do sometimes screenings, the movie is not finished, and you're on the back watching, and then you see people like you start moving like this. Go back to the editing. You have a problem somewhere. You don't know where.
But
You have
You have to go back.
I think your power is that you consider a lot the audience and the way they immerse
You
themselves.
made the movie for them. You know, you want to. Of course, you are. What's interesting is all my movies that I've done, 2 months before the end, they were shit. All of them.
What do you mean?
They were shit. Too long, not this enough, not like this, not perfect. Like one line is too much, and little by little you make it good.
Okay.
You know, it's the difference. You know, Olympic game, you have the gold, silver, and
bronze.
bronze. Who is number 4?
Wood.
No one knows. And the difference sometimes between number 4 and number 1 is 0.02 second. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
And
It's about-
this difference is probably 4 months of work
Yeah.
Wow.
for the winner.
Yeah. And you have to
So-
work on that difference to
Yeah.
make that a gold one.
So every time we do a screening, and like for example, you take 5 friends.
Yeah.
When you finish the screening, you never use this friend again because they have seen
Different,
it.
yeah, of course,
So you have
different
to take
friends.
New, so you have
They
to
are biased.
you have to plan your friends when
When you introduce the
If you
right
need
Which
ones.
training?
and inside there's my mother inside.
Okay.
And there's the butcher
Okay.
of my village.
Nice.
Yeah, because the
course.
guy, the guy say, "Oh yeah, it's good, huh?" But why the guy at the end is doing this? Okay, you go back to the editing. If the butcher said that, you have a
Go
problem.
back to the
Yeah.
edit. Nice, really nice. That's interesting. No, you were saying something really interesting about writing and cinema, because they are both about time, but in cinema time is your enemy and your friend. In
Yeah.
writing, in books, the time is something that you can manage the way you want. That's really interesting. You have
But,
your time.
It's also the importance of what I use. I'm going to tell you a story. When I was very young, 17, did my first short film, and I really want to be a director. So find the money, find the film, find the technicians. They're all 25 years old. I'm 17. They follow me. I do the short, and I make a lot of compromise because the actor never show up, so I take somebody else. And okay, anyway, I finish the thing. I pay with my little money. I pay for the screening, and I watch for the first time my first film.
Wow.
I'm crying. This is my movie. Oh my God, I'm a director. Oh my God, it's wonderful. 11 minutes later, light, turn to my friend. So, what do you think? And he said, let's have a drink. So, okay. So we have a drink. And he said, look, if you want to continue to make movie, there's one thing that you need to understand. If you have nothing to say, shut your fuck up.
Whoa.
And he saved my life
Of course.
because I didn't understand. I said, what do you mean? And then he was more precise. And so I went back to my mom, take the train, cry for probably 2 hours. Arrived to my mom at midnight. I put the film in the garden. I put some fuel on it and I burned it. I burned it. So
Wow.
which is stupid because I would love to see it now, but that was not good.
Okay.
That was not good for sure. But from this moment, the next short film was better because I understand the truth. Like, if you say something, be honest, just say something. There's so many young people today, and they write a script, and as soon as they finish the first version, they're looking for money. It doesn't work like this. Work like 2 versions, 3, 4, 5, 10, 12. When you don't know what else to do, then try to find money, but not at the beginning. And the young people today don't measure how lucky they are. They're very lucky. And I'm going to explain why. When I did my first short at 16 before on Super 8, first I have to cut grass to get money. So that was $20
Wow.
at the time for one grass. So I need to cut a lot of grass so I can buy 3 minutes of film.
Yeah.
3 minutes. Then I have to go to my neighbor to say, can I borrow your camera, please? So he gave me the camera. I shot 3 minutes. I put it in a yellow envelope, sent it to Kodak in England. He came back 3 weeks later. Okay? And 3 weeks later, I have a little machine where you put the film in it and you have a little screen, and with your hand, you
see
turn to see the guy walking like this because you have to find the good rhythm.
Yeah.
And then you need to make a short film this way. When I see today with a phone, you can shoot an entire long feature film. Everyone has a computer, or if you don't have one, a friend has a computer. You can do your editing. You go on YouTube, you put music, and then you have the biggest distributor in the world, YouTube. You can reach people in China with your movie.
Yeah, you're totally
They're so
right.
fucking lucky. I can't believe it.
That's the point of stories.
And they complain.
That's the point of how important is writing.
Yeah.
Because now everybody is, filming, but not thinking, what the fuck I want to say? What the
Yeah,
fuck
there
I
is
want
no
to tell?
urgency.
Well,
Which
yeah,
is my
because
story?
This democratization of the medium also makes everybody
Doing
publishing
it.
stuff. On
Yeah, the
YouTube.
market is
And so-
way more competitive.
Yeah,
But during COVID, for example, everybody was stuck in. So I took a couple of friends and I took my phone, and I make an entire film with a few friends and my iPhone. And because I just want to see if I'm still young enough to understand, it was so great. It was wonderful to do it.
And did you edit it also?
Yeah.
It's finished. We
Yeah,
can
yeah.
watch it.
I don't know, but I don't know.
Ooh.
Steal it from the internet.
Burn it.
Nobody.
No, it was on the platform in France and cinema, but
Okay.
I don't know for Italy.
Okay.
Called
Okay.
June and John.
June and John.
The the film.
Yeah, it's
We
a
will
love,
search
love
for it.
story.
June and John.
It was love
Nice.
story again.
And if today the same professor asks you 3 director, like who's the best director of the history of cinema for you?
Would be probably the same.
The same.
Same
Martin
as then. Yeah.
No, you can add Milos Forman
Milos.
Nice.
for sure, but also Tarkovsky.
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 There's
He's a
some-
great fan of Tarkovsky.
Yeah. Yes, there's some good guys.
Have you seen like Miyazaki's work?
Yeah, I met him.
Oh,
Oh,
Really?
whoa.
Can you?
Sorry.
No, we're
When,
great fan.
when Matilda was here, Matilda De Angelis,
Yeah.
we talk about Miyazaki
Miyazaki,
with
yeah.
her.
Yeah, we
No, I went to Japan because I want to show him Arthur and the Minimoys.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
of course. Wow.
Because I want him to take care of the Japanese version. and he has his school already. He has everything. No, it was good. It was okay. A little bit too much for me. It's always the case in Japan. The artists, when they became big, they're almost like gods.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like people, like everyone around him was like almost on the knees all the time. And,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, okay, but
He's
He's a
just a
human.
man.
Yes, of course.
it's just a man and
Yeah.
it's an artist. That's it.
I just want to talk about
Yeah.
my movie. Yeah.
So he was very nice, sweet. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong about that. But
Yeah, I understand.
Got an aura.
the emperor. a little
Yeah. Exactly. The emperor.
Interesting. Really
And
interesting.
if you have to choose one, which is your favorite Miyazaki's movie?
I don't remember the title. The one with when the train goes on the water.
Oh, La
Okay,
città
yeah.
incantata.
Yeah.
The English title? I don't know the English title.
I did the question.
They go to a ferry.
Spirited Away.
Spirited
They go to
Away.
a ferry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Really
train
nice.
and the other day.
Yeah.
And I was wondering how was working with Caleb Landry Jones from Dogman to Dracula, how it changed.
Is very a phenomenon
Yeah.
as an actor, because the way he was raised, he has a small house, he has a small life, he make music, and that's it. He's not interested by anything else, and so he's still very pure
Okay.
and fragile in the same time, and you just talk to him and you nourished him, and he say yes. Sometimes he ask questions a little bit, and then he vomit everything when you shoot. It's like, and he's so generous. He has no fear at all to be ridiculous or like what the people's gonna think, or he's just like, he's generous. He gives everything, and for me, it's the best actor I work with since Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
It's exceptional, really exceptional. So as soon as we start working on Dogman, I want to do another one with him,
Wow.
and I will be happy if I do all the last few films that I have to do with him, because it's perfect.
Wow. I'm really
Amazing.
happy about that.
Yeah, it's a great collaboration.
Yeah, you're really good.
What's interesting is when he got, for example, he got the voice. It took like 3-4 months to get the voice of Dracula.
Mhm.
We have a couch coming from Romania.
Romania.
Okay.
When he got the voice, he kept the voice for the entire thing.
Wow.
So-
once he got it, he has
I know,
it.
you go to the restaurant and say, I would love to have a steak,
He never breaks
if
character.
possible, very bloody. He's so afraid to lose the voice that he keep the voice for the entire thing.
Wow.
And
Wow.
did you watch Gary Oldman portraits of Dracula in Francis Ford Coppola?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
No, you don't care about the performance, even if they're very good. It's not
Yeah.
the problem. It's not relate. In
No, no,
fact,
of
Yeah.
course. It's another
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
it's not relate.
It's something new.
Like if you do a race, it's your race.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the point to watch the race on TV of the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's still your race, you know.
And you have to understand how to run. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
will try to steal another run, so you cannot be able to run. That's really interesting. Thank you very much, Luc Besson. It was
Thank you very
fabulous.
much.
Dracula, 29th of October. Andiamo a vederlo. Thank you.
Dracula.
Dracula.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you so much.
You want another beer?
All together.